Clap and let's lift it up. Come on, let's get big. Make some noise, Andrew Tubman.
I've never been brought on with don't laugh at his jokes. That's interesting. I'm from Newcastle. If you guys have not been to Newcastle, it's basically Big Wetherspoons. So I'm going to open up the set with an impression. Do you guys like impressions?
Yeah.
Do you guys like impressions?
Yeah.
Okay, here's my impression of a comedian doing political comedy in Russia. Hey guys, you see the funny thing about our supreme leader, Vladimir Putin, is his name strikes fear in the balls of his enemies. Thank you, that joke's over execution. I love that joke so much I'm going to get blinded. But I do understand though that it's weird opening up a set talking about how bad dictators are when I look like a Hitler you. But obviously it's not my fault I look this way. Like, it's my parents. They're Nazis. They're not Nazis, I'm just joking. Like, I'm not here to offend Nazis. It's good being here. I love doing stand-up. When I first started doing stand-up, I was at university. Like, when other university students went to like clubs and raves, like having sex and taking drugs, I went to Manchester and Liverpool to tell jokes to like 30 people above a pub. Like, laughter was my drug. I later found out MDMA is much better. Like, much better. But no, it's good. I think comedians are meant to hold up a mirror to society. And I love looking in the mirror. It's my favorite way to reflect. But I think like comedy is like one of the greatest unifiers. Like, it can connect people from all kind of differences with laughter. It's like American, English, Australian, Scottish, everybody hates Liz Truss. Am I right?
Yes.
The audience are so far back. I'm sorry. You guys chose to be that far back. This feels socially distanced. This is good. No, I like doing comedy, but sometimes it can be a bit scary. Like last week in Leith, during a comedy show in Leith People, a woman punched a comedian in the face live during a set. She couldn't wait for the punchline, so she brought her own. Yeah. Comedy can unite us, apart from when drunk audience members try to fight us. Like, let go of the rage, turn a different page, and look for different ways to engage that doesn't involve me being upstaged. Engaged in a fight because someone feels so strongly that they're right. Despite it not being polite, I have you guys in my sights. So no violence tonight. Like, my kicks are tight. It's just this for the rest of the set. Yeah, like, make love, not war. Unless that war is fought with genitals. And the first country to come loses. It's just an idea. I don't know, it's looking at kind of like this section, like there's not a lot of people here today. But I think that's all about perspective. So like, if you compare this show to like how it was yesterday, there's not as much people. But if you compare the audience today to one of my birthdays, there is a lot of people here. There is like a very good birthday. Yeah, I like birthdays. Like, I like getting older. Like, I hated being a kid. Like, as a kid, everyone thinks you're really naive and lies to you constantly. Like, my parents used to say things like, Santa Claus is real, we don't think you're gay, you're planned. And I was planned to be a playmate for my brother. Yeah, doing stand-up is like a great way of talking about your problems and issues with people. Before I did stand-up, I used to talk about my problems with people through hotlines. My favorite hotline to call was Date Station. It's soul destroying what they have on you. Yeah, so like a lot of comedians, I have some family trauma. And my trauma is kind of like my brother got like a lot more attention growing up as a kid. It's probably one of the reasons I got into stand-up. Like I remember one time, like during like a cousin's wedding, like my parents introduced me and my brother very differently to people. So my parents introduced my brother to people like, oh, this is our oldest son, Chris. He's 31 and he's running his own company. And this is our other son, not Chris. He's 26 and he's turning 27 soon. We're very proud of Chris, obviously. But yeah, no, I think it's important to talk about like your mental health, like especially after lockdown. Like I think that more people should go to therapy. So I get a discount if I go in a group. Yeah, I've been going to therapy for the past 2 years now, largely about my like anxiety over climate change. Because it turns out it's a lot cheaper and easier to go to therapy than it is trying to get China to reduce its emissions. A lot easier, like a lot easier. So generally in the therapy, they kind of suggest like talking to other like-minded people and taking action. But going to protests and supergluing myself to things like also gives me anxiety. Like the cure for anxiety shouldn't be get arrested. Like I performed a few different Extinction Rebellion protests in London, unpaid, obviously. I got a lot of superglue, which is nice. Yeah, I kind of found out during the protests that I'm not good at protesting. Like any time that I was stopped by police, I was always like, I'm not with them. I'm pro-extinction. Set fire to the ice caps, am I right? But yeah, as the climate crisis continues to get worse, there is a lot of people coming up with a range of solutions. And like one of the solutions is something called cultured meat, which is meat produced from cells in a lab. First cultured meat was a hamburger that someone ate in 2013, but scientists say that in the next 2 decades, cultured meat could be cheaper and more readily available than regular meat, saving billions of animals from unnecessary death, and of course, saving hundreds of millions of humans from being greedy. It's kind of like that expression, like, you know, like if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, then he'll overfish the ocean, and a lot of the fish will be extinct. So that is my time. Round of applause for Kyle Legacy.